Welcome to the Los Angeles Sentinel Daily Brief. This is where we bring you the headlines that are impacting the Black experience. I'm Niele Anderson, and here's what you need to know for today. Have you heard of the Black Census? In 2018, Black Futures Lab conducted the largest survey of Black people in the United States since Reconstruction. Now, over 30,000 Black people from across the country participated in the inaugural Black Census project, providing their views, political beliefs, concerns, and aspirations. Now, 4 years later, the second Black Census project is here. And joining me now to discuss the importance of this movement is the founder of the Black Futures Lab. Welcome, ALICIA Garza. Welcome to the Daily Brief, ALICIA.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to talk and start first with the work that you do at the Black Futures Lab. Can you talk to us about the organization and its mission and intent?
Absolutely. The Black Futures Lab works to make Black communities powerful in politics so we can be powerful in the rest of our lives. And some of the way that we do that is by collecting recent and relevant data about who Black people are in this country, what we experience every single day in our economy, in our democracy, in our society, and getting our opinions and our solutions to the biggest challenges that we face today. We take all that information and we work with our communities to design solutions in the form of policy that we advocate for in cities and states across the country. And the Black Census Project is a big piece of that. The Black Census is the largest survey of Black people in America in 158 years. And when we're done with this version of the Black Census, it will be the largest survey of Black people in American history. We're using this survey to design and develop a Black agenda for 2024 that we get organized around. As we know, there's a big presidential election happening in 2024. And like clockwork, just a couple of weeks before somebody wants something from us, they start coming into our communities and asking us to vote and asking us for their vote. But they're not doing the work in between to really provide the glue. And the glue is, what are you dealing with every single day? What's your community dealing with every single day? And what do you want to see from your government? And so we are filling in that gap. We're not going to hold our breath, right, and wait for other folks to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. Right. And we're going to turn that into a legislative agenda, not only that we fight for in cities and states, but that we hold people accountable to who want our votes.
I love that so much because I've always said, back in the civil rights era, there was protest, but then there was also a push for policy, and over the past decades, we've seen a lot of protests, but we haven't seen the work of policy. This is the second Black census that's being conducted. Can you talk to us about some of the findings that you found in the first census that you collected for Black Americans?
Absolutely. And if you want to go through the whole report, you can find those reports at blackfutureslab.org underneath the tab called Black Census. There was a lot of really interesting results from the first survey. One of the things that was most surprising to me is the response that we heard most often when we talked to people through the census, which was that nobody had ever asked them what they think, what they want for their future, or what they experience every single day. Now, that does not bode well for good public policy. That means that every single day there's rules that are being written about us without us, and we're not being asked what our opinions are, whether or not that works for us, whether or not that actually even addresses or helps to solve the challenges that we face every single day. But we pay for this government. We pay our taxes, and we deserve to have a government that's responsive to us. The other thing that won't surprise you that we learned in the first Black census, the issue that was keeping Black America up at night, the number one issue was low wages that are not enough to support a family. We continue to do polling We've done the longest running poll of Black Americans in the country over this last year, called our temperature check polls. And that was a poll that we initiated right after the Biden-Harris administration was installed. And ultimately, what we found is that issues of jobs and the economy continues to be the number one issue for Black people in America. But when it comes to legislation that's being put on the table to address the jobs in the economy, it's not enough for the issues and the concerns that we have. And so that is, again, why this project is so important. We deserve to have our concerns, our needs, and our experiences being made into the rules that govern all of our lives. We want an economy that is reflective of the concerns and needs of Black people in America. And by taking the Black census, you can be a part of making that happen, and you can also be a part of making history.
Have you received word or any support from the administration or even lawmakers about what you're doing?
Interestingly, some of our Black agenda items from 2020 were adopted by the Biden-Harris administration. And so this is why I want to make an appeal to folks who are watching that your voice and your participation can actually make a difference. Coming into this year and going into 2024, we are fighting hard to make sure that Black communities' priorities are the priority, and that we're not just being reached out to a couple weeks or a month or two before a big election and saying, hey, what do we got to do to get your vote? It's important for all of us to be engaged at the city level. It's important for all of us to be engaged at the state level, and really setting the terms and setting the priorities for anybody who would seek to represent us, anybody who seeks our votes. And that's how we can actually bring protest and policy together. We know that Black participation in elections is often what determines the outcome of those elections. And it's time that we wield that power responsibly and powerfully. And one of the ways that we can do that, right, is starting with the Black Census Project. If you want to take the census, you can go to blackcensus.org. One of the coolest things about this project is that we don't require you to give us any of your personal information in order for you to participate. But if you are somebody who wants to be a part of an ongoing fight to make our priorities heard, then you can choose to give us your information so that you can stay involved and get active. So take the Black Census at blackcensus.org.
And is there a deadline?
Our deadline has been extended, and so we're extending it until June 30th. We're getting to 200,000 responses, which will make us the largest survey of Black people in American history. So we need your support and we need your participation. So sign up at blackcensus.org.
Before we leave, I just want you to make a final appeal to Black America about the importance of this and just the importance of civic participation, because I don't think a lot of us understand sometimes when we look at the census on just a broader scope, which comes around every 10 years, that that's part of civic duty, because it helps the country and helps government understand how to appropriate resources, financial resources and governmental resources. So I just want to give you one big push to just let Black America know why this is important.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you and I want to thank the Los Angeles Sentinel for helping us get the word out. For our communities, some of it is that we don't know what's happening, but a lot of it is that we're not being tapped to participate, or we have a lot of concerns about whether or not our voice is even going to be heard if we give it. And that's what's so amazing about this project, is that your voice will be counted and your voice will be heard the way that you want it to be heard. You can mark what priorities are most important to you and join 200,000 Black people in communities across the nation, inside and outside of prisons and jails, in communities across the country, from every demographic background and even political and ideological background that you can think of. This project is a nonpartisan project. We're not just looking for people who agree with us. We're looking for everybody to participate so that we can find the things that we agree on and move forward on those things together. That's really more of what we need in American politics today. There's so much division, there's so much talking past each other, there's so many backroom deals that are happening that we forget what the purpose of this is, which is to come up with fair rules that work for all of us and that help lift all boats. And so that's what we're trying to do here with the Black Census. Take the Black Census and make your voice heard. You will get to say that you participated in the largest survey of Black people in American history. And I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. But even bigger than that, as we are fighting to get the rules changed, you will get to say that you participated in that as well. And that I know is important for our legacies, right?
Right.
I always say that when I was growing up, I heard about the struggles of the civil rights movement prior to me. And, in the 80s, I always felt like I missed the boat, right? Like all the cool stuff happened before I got here. And, it's been such an honor and a privilege to be able to participate in shifting and shaping the way that we're dealing with racism and racial justice in this country. And I'm going to be proud being able to tell my children and my grandchildren that I stood up and did something to move us forward. And I want you to join me in that. I think you'll be able to do that too if you participate in the Black Census. So take the Black Census today, blackcensus.org.
Yeah, and you are walking in the legacy of our ancestors, and we totally appreciate the work that you have done and that you are doing, and you are so needed right now. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will continue to uplift the message of our community taking the Black Census.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you today.
For the latest in Black news, visit lasentinel.net and be sure to sign up for the LA Sentinel e-paper, which comes out every Thursday. The Los Angeles Sentinel Daily Brief is also available wherever podcasts can be found. I'm Niele Anderson, and you have just been debriefed.